Hey guys, welcome back to User Experience Points. This week we're looking at Assassin's Creed Unity. Now, as you've probably heard from reviews, this game launched with some problems. It's occasionally quite buggy, a lot of the connected services were not working at launch, like the companion app and its connection to Ubisoft's Uplay service. That's a bummer. It was probably rushed to get it out before Black Friday shopping season. That said, we're not going to be talking about how bad the game's launch was any further. It's not an interesting subject. I'm much more interested in talking about the experience as designed when it works. It's been about a week since launch, and they've already patched out a lot of the problems, so it got a rough start, but I've got some good things to say about its design, and still some bad things, so let's get to it. One of the most ambitious parts about Unity's design is the amount of outside services that it is connected to. There's Assassin's Creed Initiates, in which you create a profile and complete certain tasks within the game that earn you rewards. There is Uplay, which is connected to most Ubisoft games, that has its own set of achievements that, once completed, earn you Uplay points, which you can then use to purchase unique DLC for your game. There's also a companion app with its own gameplay that allows you to unlock certain chests in Unity itself. And of course there's the disgusting microtransactions that have been added to the game that allow you to unnecessarily progress faster. Quick gameplay tip: upgrade the Social Club Cafe and you will never ever be tempted to buy Helix points. Just don't do it. This is a terrible practice and you should not support it. Let's talk about Uplay first. The Uplay interface overall functions pretty well. The navigation is clear and it's easy to find the rewards you want. One both frustrating and convenient part of the design is the way the circle button immediately backs you out of Uplay and drops you back in the main game. Though it can be frustrating if you're actually using Uplay and you've drilled down a few levels in the menu and you instinctively hit circle to go back a level, which is the way the rest of the menus in Assassin's Creed Unity itself work. Uplay opens in the console's browser, so you use the L1 button to go back. Now this is fine because it shows you on the first screen, but for some reason, whenever you go one level deeper in the menu, the L1 button disappears. If the L1 button were to stay on screen to continually remind you that this is how you hit back when you're in this menu, hitting the circle button accidentally would occur less often. I'm also going to talk about initiates because, like Uplay, you can very quickly jump to initiates from the main menu. While most of its features that are connected to Unity are still unavailable, one of the things that's currently working is the chests that are tied to your level in initiates that are available in Unity's game world. Some of them were already unlocked for me because I've already reached level 5 using initiates connected to Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. It's very easy to tell which chests you've unlocked, but locating them in the actual game is kind of frustrating. You can see here in the initiates interface that the chests are clearly labeled with their location. Unfortunately, there's no shortcut to Unity's map screen from here to help you locate the chests. And in Unity's map screen, the initiates chests are completely unlabeled aside from the fact that that's what they are. This means you have to remember the name of the location from the initiates interface and then scroll around the map trying to find it so you can try to match it up. Of course, that doesn't even compare to the frustration of finding a treasure chest within the game and then finding out that you have to use some external service to open it. This is also true for the different chests that are unlocked by playing the game's companion app. It's terrible. There's no reason that it should have been built like this. Now, if these outside services made these chests appear in the game world, that would make a lot more sense and be less frustrating. That way, players using the connected services would feel rewarded, and those who aren't wouldn't get frustrated by these chests that they can't open. I'm impressed the way Ubisoft was clearly trying to create this grand multimedia experience for this game, but it's just not quite there yet. Okay, let's talk about something good. The heads-up display in the game is awesome. It'll be pretty familiar to anyone who's played an Assassin's Creed game before, and it's just as customizable as it was in Black Flag. Every element of the HUD can be individually turned off, and there's even some convenient presets that you can use, like turning everything off so you can see how amazing this game looks without any other distractions. I do have a couple nitpicks though, mostly tied to the weapon indicator. Since your primary weapon and hidden blades are now context-sensitive items, the two things that you can toggle between are your ranged weapons and gadgets. gadgets. These are tied to the left and right side of the D-pad respectively. This is actually really smart because if you keep pressing the left side of the D-pad, it'll keep you in the ranged menu instead of jumping you over to gadgets. Same thing with the right side. My only complaint is the way that ranged weapons and gadgets that you haven't obtained yet are represented by question marks that take up a slot in your selection. This unnecessarily hinders your ability to get to items quickly. If you haven't obtained them, they shouldn't be there yet. Another nitpick I have is the transparent backgrounds on these icons, which can cause the weapon selection to get obscured in brighter environments. Okay, back to something I like. The screens where you equip Arno with weapons and clothes are wonderful. The way each article of clothing or weapon affects your stats is very clearly represented, and the way you get to see them live update on Arno's character model is awesome. There are only two minor points of confusion here. First, we have the modifiers for each item. For some reason, the modifiers effects before the item is upgraded are not given a column header. This makes seeing the modifiers effects on the item very difficult to read until you upgrade the item itself. Next is the way primary weapons work. Arno can use one-handed weapons, two-handed weapons, polearms, rifles, and pistols. The confusing part is that it's not made clear which combinations of these weapons can be equipped. For example, you can equip a pistol and a sword, but if you equip a rifle, that takes up both of those slots. It didn't take me long to figure this out, but an explanation in the UI itself would have been helpful. Unity's map screen is lovely in a way that it functions as a sort of hub for what the heck you're going to do next in this giant game. Look at all those icons, holy crap. Thankfully, to help you digest this information, you've got a way to filter the icons and a very nice legend that breaks them down. Also, each district gets its own checklist, allowing you to figure out which area of the map you want to head to next to get that completion. The map is also fully 3D, which is awesome when you're trying to figure out the vertical placement for certain items like treasure chests. One part of the map that feels underdeveloped is the way you can select co-op missions. It's cool that you can jump right into one without having to travel to that location and talk to the NPC, but it's frustrating that it doesn't show whether you've completed that mission before or not. And finally, we have the progress tracker, which you use to look at previous missions that you've completed to see which optional objectives you might have missed, along with your progress on pretty much everything else in the game. My favorite part about this screen is the way the X button is always floating under the bar that you currently have selected. The way it skips right over sections that you have no progress in yet is also a great touch. Unfortunately, this screen gets pretty confusing once you select a section. It looks cool in that each bar is split into individual little pieces that form back together as you scroll left and right, but the ability to do so is never really made clear. I do like the color coding that clearly shows which items are completed, in progress, have been discovered and not started, and the way it skips over ones that haven't been discovered at all. And that's it for this week, guys. Thanks again for watching. Overall, I would consider Unity's user experience to be pretty impressive and definitely ambitious, although it does falter in some places. User experience points will be taking a break for Thanksgiving, but you can expect a new episode the following Friday. See you then.